Yuna stood at the window of the space station and watched Earth spin slowly below her. The blue oceans and green lands looked peaceful from up here. She had been a soldier for 12 years, but she never got tired of this view. It was home. Her brother Taiho was down there somewhere, working at the alien embassy in Seoul. He was always the smart one in the family. He could speak 6 alien languages. Yuna could barely manage one. But she was good at other things. She was good at fighting. She hoped she would never have to prove it. The alarm came without warning. Red lights flashed across every wall. Yuna ran to the command center, her boots hitting the metal floor hard. Admiral Dawn was already there, his old face pale as he stared at the screens. What is happening? Yuna asked. The Admiral did not answer at first. He just pointed at the screen. Yuna looked. Her blood went cold. Ships. Hundreds of ships. They were coming out of hyperspace all around Earth. But these were not human ships. These belonged to the Galactic Concordat, the alliance of 12 ancient alien races that ruled the galaxy. Humanity had joined them as a minor member just 50 years ago. They were supposed to be friends. They are targeting our cities, someone said. His voice was shaking. Wang Yuan, I watched as bright lines of light shot down from the alien ships. Each line hit Earth like a hammer. Where they struck, fire bloomed. She saw a flash where Seoul was supposed to be Taeho. No, she whispered. The station shook. The Concordat ships were firing at the orbital platforms too. Yuna grabbed a console to stay on her feet. Around her, people were screaming, running, dying. A piece of the ceiling fell and crushed a young officer she had eaten breakfast with that morning. Admiral Dohan grabbed her arm. His grip was strong for an old man. We cannot win this fight, he said. We have to run. We have to save who we can. My brother is down there. Your brother is gone. Everyone down there is gone. 3 billion people gone. The Admiral's eyes were wet, but his voice was steady. If we die here, humanity dies with us. Do you understand? We are all that is left. Yuna wanted to scream. She wanted to fight. She wanted to die with her world. But she was a soldier. She had a duty. What do we do? She asked. 17 ships are ready to jump. They are loaded with civilians. We need to get them to the unstable wormhole near Jupiter. The Concordat does not go there. It is our only chance. The station shook again. Harder this time. Go, Doan ordered. Get to your shuttle. Lead the convoy to the wormhole. I will hold them here as long as I can. Admiral, that is an order, Lieutenant Commander. Yuna saluted. It felt strange, doing something so normal while the world ended around her. Then she ran. The hallways were full of smoke and bodies. Yuna jumped over them, her training taking over. She did not let herself think. If she thought, she would break. She just moved. She reached the shuttle bay. Her small ship was still there, waiting for her. She climbed inside, started the engines, and flew out into hell. Space was full of fire. Human ships were exploding everywhere. The big carriers, the small fighters, the transport vessels, all of them were being torn apart by the Concordat weapons. Yuna flew through the destruction, dodging debris and laser fire. She found the 17 civilian ships and led them toward Jupiter. Behind her, she heard Admiral Dawn's final message on the radio. This is Admiral Dawn to all surviving humans. Do not forget this day. Do not forget what they did to us. Run now, survive now, but remember, one day we will make them answer for this. Then his signal went dead. Yuna led the ships to the wormhole. It was a swirling hole in space, unstable and dangerous. No one knew where it led. The Concordat had marked it as Forbidden's territory. But the Concordat was now the enemy. Forbidden's meant nothing anymore. All ships, follow me, Yuna said. Whatever is on the other side, It cannot be worse than what is behind us. One by one, the 17 ships entered the wormhole. Yuna went last. As her shuttle approached the swirling light, she looked back at her solar system one final time. Earth was burning. Mars was burning. The moon was cracked in half. Everything humanity had built over thousands of years was gone in a single day. Then she entered the wormhole, and the light swallowed her. She drifted for a long time. The wormhole damaged her shuttle badly. Life support was failing. She was going to die alone in the dark. Then her radio crackled. Yuna, can you hear me? It was Taiho's voice. But that was impossible. He was dead. Seoul was destroyed. I recorded this message before the attack. The recording continued. If you are hearing this, I was right. The Concordat was planning something. I found evidence, but I was too late to warn anyone. I am sorry, sister. I am so sorry. There was a pause. I was captured, not killed. They are keeping me alive because I know their languages. I do not know for how long, but I learned something important. I learned why they did this. Another pause. They are afraid of us, Yuna. They are afraid of what we might become. Remember that. Whatever you do next, remember that the most powerful races in the galaxy were so scared of humanity that they tried to erase us from existence. The recording ended. Yuna floated in the darkness, her shuttle dying around her. But she was not afraid anymore. She was angry. An anger she knew could keep a person alive for a very long time. 12 years had passed since the day Earth died. The survivors had found a home in the Shroud Nebula, a dark region of space filled with dead stars and strange structures. The Concordat never came here. They called it cursed. For humanity, cursed meant safe. Jisoo was born on the refugee fleet, 3 months after the escape. She had never seen Earth. She had never felt real wind or real rain. She knew these things only from old videos and the stories old people told. To her, Earth was a beautiful dream that belonged to others. But the anger, she understood. The anger was passed down like a family treasure. She worked as an engineer in the colony, fixing machines and building new ones from whatever scrap they could find. Today, she was deep inside one of the ancient structures that floated near their hidden planet. The survivors called these structures the bones, because they looked like the skeleton of some giant creature. Jisoo touched the wall. It was cold and smooth, made of a metal that did not exist anywhere else. Whoever built this place was not human. They were not Concordat either. They were something older. Are you finding anything useful? A voice asked behind her. She turned. It was Elder Suho, the oldest survivor in the colony. He was 87 years old. He had been a professor on Earth, teaching history at a university. Now he taught children in a metal room and led the civilian council. I'm not sure, Jisoo said. These machines are very advanced. I can see they still have power, but I do not understand how to use them. Suho walked closer, his old legs slow but steady. Keep trying. You are the smartest person we have. If anyone can unlock these secrets, it is you. Jisoo was not sure she agreed, but she nodded anyway. The colony had grown over 12 years. They started with 200,000 survivors on 17 ships. Now they had 800,000 people, living on a rogue planet with no sun. They used the heat from the planet's core to stay warm. They grew food in underground farms. They built homes inside caves and old ship hulls. It was not a good life. But it was life. The military had grown too. Myre led them now. She was a hard woman with cold eyes and burned scars on her face. She had lost her husband and 2 children on the day of silence. She never smiled anymore. She only planned and trained and prepared. One day, Myre always said, "We will make them pay." Nobody argued with her. Tonight, Myray was returning from a mission. Jisoo heard the news and went to the landing area to watch. 3 small attack ships came down through the cave entrance, their engines loud in the underground space. Myra climbed out of the lead ship. She was carrying something in her arms. No, not something. Someone died. It was an alien. The crowd gasped. Some people shouted in anger. Jisoo saw hands reaching for weapons. "Stop!" Myray commanded. Her voice was like a blade. Everyone went quiet. "This one surrendered to us. He says he has information. It is a trick." Someone shouted. "Maybe," Myray said. "But we are not animals. We will listen first. Then we decide." They took the alien to a holding cell. He was small, with gray skin and large dark eyes. He came from a species Jisoo did not recognize. He was shaking with fear. Elder Suho went to speak with him. He was the only one who knew some of the alien languages. When he came out 2 hours later, his face was strange. Jisoo could not tell if he was happy or sad or something else entirely. "Well?" Myray asked. "His name is Dory," Suho said. "Yes, I know, it sounds like a human name. His species was conquered by the Concordat 3,000 years ago. They are slaves now. They do all the work the elder races do not want to do. So he is not our enemy? No. He says there are many species like his. Dozens. Maybe hundreds. All of them hate the Concordat. All of them dream of freedom. They just never had anyone strong enough to fight." Murray's eyes changed. For the first time in 12 years, Jisoo saw something other than anger in them. She saw hope. "We are not strong enough either," someone said. "We have 3 attack ships and a hidden planet. They have 1,000,000 warships and 1,000 worlds." "For now," Myray said. "For now." Jisoo went back to the ancient structure the next day. She worked harder than ever. She touched every surface, pushed every button, tried every combination. Days passed. Then weeks. She slept in the structure, ate her meals there, forgot what the outside world looked like. Then, on a cold night, when she was almost ready to give up, she found it. A room she had not seen before. A pillar in the center, covered in symbols. And on the pillar, a single handprint. She placed her hand on it. Light exploded around her. The whole structure came alive. Screens appeared in the air, showing maps and data she could not understand. And then a voice spoke. It was not in any language she knew, but somehow she understood it. Authorization confirmed. Genetic markers accepted. You are the heirs. Heirs to what? Jisoo whispered. To everything, the voice said. The ones you call the Concordat were our servants once. They were given custody of the galaxy while we were away, but they forgot their place. They claimed what was not theirs. The screen showed images. Jisoo saw the Concordat elder races bowing to giant beings of light. She saw them being given technology, ships, power. She saw them rising up after the light beings left. She saw them erasing all records, claiming they had built everything themselves. We have been waiting, the voice continued. Waiting for new heirs. Ones who would grow through fire. Ones who would be tested by suffering. You have been tested. You have survived. You are ready. Ready for what? To take back what was stolen. To write new rules for the galaxy. We will give you the tools. What you do with them is your choice. Jisoo stood in the light, her heart beating fast. She thought about Earth burning. She thought about her parents, whom she never knew. She thought about 800,000 people living in caves, eating recycled food, dreaming of revenge. We accept, she said, dot around her. Ancient machines began to wake. Across the galaxy, in places the Concordat thought were empty, beacons started to glow. The heirs had been found, and the rules were about to change. 3 years had passed and Jisoo woke the ancient machines. Everything was different now. The precursors, as they called the ancient builders, had given humanity access to technology beyond imagination. The colony had grown into a real civilization. They had ships now, real warships built with precursor knowledge. They had weapons that could bend gravity and fold space. They had power, but with power came hard questions. Yuna stood in the command center of the new flagship, the Remembrance. She was 49 years old now. Her hair was gray at the edges. Her face had lines that told stories of pain and loss. She was Fleet Admiral now, the highest rank in the human military. Today, she was going to see her brother for the first time in 15 years. The rescue mission had been Murray's idea. Taiho had been moved from prison to prison over the years, kept alive because of his language skills. They finally found him on a small Concordat outpost near the edge of their territory. 20 ships attacked the outpost. The battle lasted 11 minutes. The Concordat defenders never had a chance. When the shuttle docked with the Remembrance, Yuna was waiting at the door. It opened, and there he was. Tae-ho was thin. Too thin. His eyes were sunken, and his skin was pale from years without sunlight. But when he saw his sister, he smiled. It was the same smile from their childhood. They held each other for a long time. No words, just tears. "I have someone for you to meet," Taiho said finally. He stepped aside, and a young boy walked forward. He was 15 years old, with Taiho's eyes and his mother's strong jaw. "This is Hyan," Taiho said. "My son." Yuna stared. "You had a son? In prison?" His mother was another prisoner. She died when he was 5. "I raised him in cells and work camps. He has never known freedom." Taiho put his hand on the boy's shoulder. "Until now." Hyan looked at Yuna with curious eyes. "You are my aunt? Father told me stories about you. He said you were a warrior." "I am," Yuna said. "And so is your father. He survived 15 years in hell. That takes more strength than any battle." They walked to the command center together. Elder Suho was there, along with Jisoo and Mireille. But there was also someone new. The precursor intelligence that lived in the ancient machines had sent a representative. They called it the Keeper. The Keeper appeared as a shape made of light. It had no face, but it could speak, and its voice was calm and patient. "The network is ready," the Keeper said. "We can now control all hyperspace lanes in the galaxy. One command, and the Concordat loses the ability to travel faster than light. Their empire will be cut into 1,000 pieces." Mireille stepped forward. Her eyes were bright with hunger. "Then do it. Let them starve. Let them die slowly, the way our people died." Wait. This was Counselor Bora, a woman who had joined the council 2 years ago. She was younger than most leaders, only 35, but she spoke with wisdom. "If we do this, billions will die. Not just Concordat. They're slave species too. Everyone who depends on trade and transport. Those slaves hate the Concordat as much as we do," Mireille argued. "They will understand, will they? Or will they see us as the new monsters? The new rulers who kill without mercy?" The room went quiet. Yuna looked at the map on the main screen. 1,000 Concordat worlds. Trillions of lives. The power to end them all with a single order. She thought about Earth. She thought about soul burning. She thought about 3 billion screams cut short. "I want revenge," she said slowly. "Every day, I want it. I dream about it. I taste it." She looked at Mireille. "But revenge is not justice. If we become like them, then they won. Even if they all die, they won. Because they proved that we are exactly what they feared." "Then what do you suggest?" Mireille asked. Her voice was cold. Old Admiral Doan's voice came from the corner of the room. Everyone turned. He was 91 now, too old to command, too stubborn to die. He spent most days in a wheelchair, but his mind was still sharp. "We do not destroy them," he said. "We do not forgive them either. We make them earn their place. We take away their power and make them prove they deserve to exist in a galaxy they stole." "How?" Jisoo asked. "We lock them out of hyperspace, but we do not leave them to die. We give them a choice: surrender, join the New Order, treat every species as equal, or stay in their little boxes forever, alone and forgotten." Taiho nodded slowly. "And we announce it to everyone. Every slave species, every minor race. We tell them the truth about the Concordat. We tell them the rules have changed. We tell them they have a voice now." Bora smiled. "Not revenge, revolution." Mireille was quiet for a long moment. Her hands were shaking. Yuna knew she was fighting a war inside herself. The woman who wanted blood versus the leader who needed to think about the future. "Fine," Mireille said at last. "We do it your way. But if they fight us, if they refuse to change, I will not hold back." "None of us will," Yuna said. "But we give them the chance first. That is what makes us different." They made the announcement the next day. It went out across every communication channel in the galaxy. Every Concordat world heard it. Every slave species heard it. Every hidden rebel, every suffering prisoner, every child who dreamed of freedom. This is the voice of humanity. 15 years ago, the Galactic Concordat tried to erase us from existence. They killed our world. They killed our people. They thought we would disappear. They were wrong. Today, we control the hyperspace network. Today, we decide who travels the stars. The Concordat's reign is over. Their lies are exposed. They did not build this galaxy. They stole it from the ones who came before. To the elder races, we offer a choice. Join the New Order as equals, not masters. Treat every species with respect. Answer for your crimes. Or be locked away in your own systems, forgotten by history. To everyone else, we say this: the rules have changed. The youngest children are writing new ones. And this time, no one gets erased. The message ended. Across the galaxy, there was silence. Then, slowly, responses started coming. Some were threats. Some were pleas. Some were cheers. The war for the future of the galaxy had begun. And humanity, the species they tried to erase, was leading it. 5 years of war. 5 years of blood and fire and choices that kept Yuna awake at night. The Concordat was breaking apart. Some elder races had surrendered quickly. They saw the truth of their situation and chose survival over pride. Others fought back with everything they had. The human fleet had grown to 500 ships. It was still small compared to the Concordat's thousands, but quality mattered more than quantity now. Every human ship carried precursor technology. Every human weapon hit harder and faster than anything the enemy had. But humans were not fighting alone anymore. The coalition of free species had formed in the second year of the war. 47 races joined together, all of them former slaves or conquered peoples. They brought soldiers, ships, resources, and most importantly, information about Concordat weaknesses. Nuri, the alien who had surrendered to Mireille years ago, was now a coalition ambassador. He had brought his entire species into the alliance. Millions of gray-skinned workers who had served the elder races for 3,000 years were now building warships for the enemy. "We spent generations fixing their machines," Nuri said once. "Now we know exactly where those machines break." The war was going well. Too well, maybe. Jisoo worried about that. She spent most of her time studying precursor archives now. The ancient machines had libraries of knowledge, billions of years of history. Most of it was beyond human understanding, but she learned more every day. Today, she found something that scared her. They did not just leave, she told the council. The precursors. They changed. They became something else. Something beyond physical form. What do you mean? Yuna asked. They transcended. They exist in a higher dimension now. They can see everything that happens in our galaxy. Jisoo paused. They are watching us. Watching to see what? Hyan asked. He was 20 now, tall and confident. He worked as a diplomat, using his strange childhood to understand both humans and aliens. To see if we are worthy, Jisoo said. The Concordat failed their test. They were given power and became tyrants. The precursors want to know if we will be different. And if we fail? Taiho asked. Jisoo did not answer. She did not need to. The Concordat attacked 2 weeks later. They had been gathering their remaining forces in secret, and they struck at New Hope, the planet where humanity had built its capital. They used weapons so old and forbidden that even the precursor archives barely mention them. The battle lasted 3 days. Yuna commanded from the remembrance. She watched her ships die. She watched cities burn. She gave orders that sent thousands of young soldiers to their deaths. And when the Concordat ground forces broke through the last line of defense, she prepared to die herself, but they held. The coalition reinforcements arrived on the 3rd day. Ships from 47 species, coming to save the people who had given them hope. The Concordat fleet was crushed between 2 forces. They tried to retreat, but the hyperspace lanes were closed to them. Victory. But the cost was terrible. Among the dead was Elder Suho. When the enemy ground forces reached the civilian shelters, he had stood in front of a group of children. He had no weapon. He just stood there, old and frail, and refused to move. They killed him. But they did not get past him. The soldiers who found his body said he was still standing, propped against the wall, his arms spread wide. Yuna wept when she heard the news. She had not wept since Earth died. He saved 17 children, Hyan told her. They are calling him a hero. He was always a hero, Yuna said. He just never needed a war to prove it. They buried Suho on New Hope, in a garden that overlooked the reconstruction work. Thousands attended the ceremony. Humans and aliens standing together, mourning together. Myre spoke at the funeral. Her voice was softer than anyone had ever heard it. I spent 20 years wanting revenge, she said. I thought killing our enemies would fill the hole inside me. It did not. But standing here, surrounded by people from 100 different worlds, I understand something. We did not fight to destroy. We fought to build. And Suho knew that before any of us. After the funeral, Yuna authorized the final offensive. The Concordat capital was a massive space station called the Eternal Ring. It was the heart of their empire, the symbol of their power. Taking it would end the war. The fleet jumped to the Eternal Ring system. 1,000 ships from the coalition. The largest force in galactic history. The battle was brutal. The Concordat fought with desperation. They knew this was the end. Ships crashed into each other. Stations exploded. Millions died on both sides. Yuna led the charge personally. The Remembrance took hit after hit, but it kept flying. When the Concordat flagship tried to escape, she ordered pursuit. They caught it at the edge of the system. Surrender. Yuna broadcast. Your war is over. Your empire is finished. Surrender, and your people will live. Silence. Then a response. You think you have won? You are just the latest in a long line of upstarts. Others will rise after us. Others will put you in your place. Maybe, Yuna said. But not you. Not today. The Concordat flagship exploded 5 minutes later. Its captain had chosen death over surrender. But not everyone agreed with their captain. Across the system, Concordat ships began powering down their weapons. Escape pods launched from the Eternal Ring, the Elder Race. Leadership fled in private shuttles. Taiho's voice came over the general channel. It was broadcast everywhere, to every corner of the galaxy. This is the human fleet to all stations. The war is over. The Concordat leadership has fled. The Eternal Ring is under our control. He paused, and when he spoke again, his voice was harder. We were the species you tried to erase. We were the prophecy you feared. And now we are the ones deciding who deserves a future. To the remaining Concordat forces, surrender. Join the new galaxy as equals. Or be forgotten like the empires that came before you. This is our offer. It will not come again. One by one, the Concordat ships surrendered. The war was over. Humanity had won. 20 years had passed since the genocide. The galaxy had been reborn. Una stood on a hill overlooking a city. It was not a human city. It was built by 40 different species working together. Glass towers reached toward the sky, designed by architects from worlds that had been enemies a generation ago. Children played in parks where different languages mixed together like music. This was Unity, the new capital of the Open Accord. Una was 69 years old now. Her hair was completely white. Her body was tired, but her eyes were still sharp and her mind was still clear. She had refused to die until she saw this day. Today was the 20th anniversary of the Day of Silence. Today, they would remember the dead and celebrate the living. Taiho found her on the hill. He was 62, his face lined with age and wisdom. He served as humanity's voice on the Galactic Council now, representing their species among the 100 others who had joined the Open Accord. You are missing the ceremony, he said. I know. I will come soon. I just needed a moment. They stood together in silence, watching the city below. After a while, Taiho spoke again. Do you think they would be proud of us? The ones we lost? I think about that every day, Una said. And I think yes. Not because we won, but because of how we won. The Concordats still existed, but it was different now. The 12 elder races had been stripped of their power. They were members of the Open Accord, equal to everyone else. Some of them had accepted this. Others were still bitter, but they had no choice. The rules were clear, and humanity enforced them. No species would be treated as lesser. No voice would be silenced. No genocide would be permitted. Ever again. These were the laws of the new galaxy. Humanity had written them. Jisoo had become the greatest scientist in galactic history. She had unlocked secrets of the precursors that others thought impossible. She had created new technologies that made life better for trillions of beings. But her greatest achievement was not a machine or a weapon. 2 years ago, she had made contact with the precursors themselves. They had come to her in a dream that was not a dream. Beings of light and mathematics, older than stars, watching from a dimension beyond human understanding. You have done well, they told her. We gave the Concordat power, and they used it to enslave. We gave you power, and you used it to free. The test is complete. What happens now? Jisoo asked. Now you continue. You grow. You make mistakes and learn from them. One day, perhaps, you will become like us. Or perhaps you will become something else entirely. That is the beauty of choice. Will you help us? We have helped enough. The galaxy is yours now. Build something worthy of it. Jisoo had shared this with the council, but no one else. Some things were too big for ordinary conversation. Hyan stood on the main stage in Unity Square, looking out at a crowd of millions. Beings of every shape and color had gathered to hear him speak. He was 35 now, the leader of the new generation. Behind him stood the surviving architects of the revolution. Una, who had led the fleet. Taiho, who had spoken for humanity, Jisoo, who had unlocked the ancient power, and Mireille, who had turned her anger into purpose. Mireille was 71 and finally at peace. She spent her days teaching young soldiers about the true cost of war. She made sure they understood that victory was not the killing of enemies, but the building of something worth protecting. Hyan began to speak. 20 years ago, the galaxy tried to erase humanity. They killed 3 billion of our people. They destroyed our home world. They thought they had won. He looked across the crowd at the faces of species who had once been slaves and enemies. They were wrong, not because we were stronger, not because we were smarter, but because we refused to become what they feared we would become. We had the power to destroy them. We had the right to destroy them. But we chose a different path. We chose to build instead of burn. We chose to include instead of exclude. We chose to make the galaxy better than it was. The crowd was silent, listening. Today, we remember the dead. 3 billion souls who never saw this future. We carry their memory with us always. We build this new world in their name. But today, we also celebrate the living. Look around you. 100 species, standing together. Former enemies, now friends. Former slaves, now free. This is what humanity fought for. This is what we almost died for. And I would say it was worth it. Cheers rose from the crowd. Hyan smiled and continued. My father was a prisoner for 15 years. He taught me that the longest chains are the ones we put on ourselves. Hatred is a chain. Fear is a chain. We broke those chains when we chose mercy over vengeance. My aunt lost everyone she loved. She could have become bitter and cruel. Instead, she became a leader who fought for everyone, not just her own people. Every person standing behind me made impossible choices. They chose to be better than their pain. That is the real victory. That is the legacy we leave to the future. After the ceremony, Yuna took a shuttle to a place she had never been before. A place she had been afraid to visit. Earth. Or what was left of it. The planet was still there, healing slowly. The fires had died long ago. The radiation was fading. Life was returning, green patches spreading across the scarred surface. Yuna landed near where Sol had been. There was nothing left. No buildings, no streets, no sign that millions of people had lived here. Just grass and flowers growing over the ashes. She knelt on the ground and spoke to the dead. I am sorry it took so long to come. I was not ready. I thought seeing this would break me. But I was wrong. She looked at the flowers, blue and yellow and red, colors that had not existed here 20 years ago. We did not become monsters. We could have. It would have been easy. But we remembered who we were. We remembered that humanity was never about revenge. It was about hope. It was about building things that last. She touched the soil, feeling the warmth of a planet coming back to life. The galaxy is different now. Better than it was. Species that hated each other are learning to live together. Children are growing up without fear. And when people tell stories about the dark times, they also tell stories about how we came through. She stood up, brushing dirt from her hands. I do not know if you can hear me. I do not know what happens after we die. But if you can, I want you to know that we won. Not just the war. We won by staying true to ourselves. We won by writing rules that protect everyone. We won by choosing to be the species you always believed we could be. She took one last look at the flowers. Rest now. You have earned it. And so, I think, have I. Yuna walked back to her shuttle. Behind her, the wind moved through the grass, carrying the whispers of 3 billion souls. They were at peace now. And so was she. The galaxy stretched out before her, full of stars and possibilities. Humanity had its place among them at last. not as conquerors, not as victims, but as architects of a better future they had tried to erase. Humanity. Now humanity was writing the rules, and the rules said that everyone deserved a chance to be free.